When you're a boy. Oh yeah. Welcome back to the Far Out Podcast. Todd Perry, Buck Perez.
Todd, how we doing?
Good, good.
How we doing?
It's always work it out. A little David Bowie here. Thank you everybody for listening to the show. It's good to be back.
Under the hot lights.
Under the hot lights of Neverland Rancho. We're listening to a little bit of David Bowie here on the show. And I had this revelation the other day. Now please, if you agree with me, please get with it. I realize that every time a band starts to suck is that moment when they stop dressing themselves. Like the moment you know a band is good, and then eventually they get to the point where they have like a stylist.
Right.
Like, I was watching some like, what was it, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame the other day.
Oh.
And then like Green Day was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I've had my grief with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame many times explained on the show. But in this, I was looking at Green Day, and it looked like they were dressed by some type of like Broadway, you know, set designer where they had like the guy liner on and the hair was all done appropriately and dyed correctly, and the clothes were like not punk clothes you get at your local vintage store, but it was like stuff purchased by...
It was some Hot Topic shit.
It was some Hot Topic shit. And you look at any band and you go to that moment when they lost their edge as a band is the moment that like they're like, right. Oh, we got the stylist coming in. We got the stylist giving us our clothes. And that's usually when the band now has no edge whatsoever.
Well, I've been styled for the last 2 or 3 years now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's why, Buck, you have no edge anymore.
This is why I'm looking good right now. That's why.
You got Elliot here taking a little bit
Thank
of
you,
video
Elliot.
of the show. But
Thank you, Elliot.
Thank you, Elliot. I had that realization watching bands. So, you know, whenever your favorite band starts looking like somebody else is paying a lot of money for their clothing, usually is the moment when you're like, ah, shit, now they suck.
Well, that being said, the Sex Pistols were styled from the beginning, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they had that...
Malcolm McLaren had his sex shop or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they got all their clothing out of that.
Right.
So maybe I'm wrong.
They were like the first boy band, really. The Sex Pistols.
In a well, I mean,
In a
you
weird
had
way.
well, the Monkees were kind of that, maybe the Jacksons kind of that way.
And the Sex Pistols covered the Monkees' "I'm Not a Stepping Stone."
Yes, they did.
It's full circle, people.
Or I like the version of "My Way" by Sid Vicious, at the end of Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Like nothing beats that. That's good shit. But yeah, I was watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I just get angry whenever I watch this. You know, and I
Angers you. Yeah.
It angers me at the fact that they have a rock and roll at its best is anti-establishment.
Right.
Right? So, the moment you create an establishment for the anti-establishment is the moment the entire genre, the entire movement is now fucking dead. And then you see guys out here like Dave Grohl that just can't wait to make a speech. Like Dave Grohl's out there like, all I want to do is honor people. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to tell them about... Nothing's worse than seeing Dave Grohl, who's in Nirvana, going out there talking about how much he loves Kiss. All right? Kurt Cobain would have stabbed Dave Grohl in the neck if he knew who Dave Grohl became.
Do you remember there was one of the Video Music Awards back in the day where they're all doing their shit on stage, and at one point Dave Grohl's like, "Where's Axl? Hi, Axl. Hi, Axl."
Right.
He was awesome. He was really cool back then. You know, he's making fun of that type of music.
But now he's
now he's that guy.
Now he'd be like, Axl Rose was a wonderful innovator and took his style. And now it's like, now, Dave, you're no longer relevant. I'm sorry.
Right. He might as well cover November Rain.
Right.
Yeah.
And gone out there. But I know, it's really depressing.
Well, the state of music, I guess.
I guess
Life happens.
It always goes that way. But, eventually people get old and then they just like, your whole life, the jocks are keeping you down, and now suddenly you're cool, and now you're being a jock in your own way with shit. And I guess that's what happened. So you got to prevent that from happening. I was pissed when the Beastie Boys actually made a speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh. So like the Beastie Boys were always cool as shit and above all that kind of crap. Right. And it was like, oh man.
Who'd they do it for?
No, they got inducted,
got inducted.
but then they made a speech about MCA and then like died a couple days later. So forgiveness, but we're the Far Out Podcast.
And